Hello and good afternoon, good evening, and in some locations, good morning. Welcome to Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you some kick-ass footage from Call of Duty where I'm just wrecking shop. Folks, we're going to be here for the next hour and 15-ish minutes talking about, well, the ROG Xbox Ally X and S. It releases tomorrow. I went and picked up my ROG controller. It's really, really freaking nice. I'm glad I picked it up. I could have, and actually I did ask if I could pick up the case and the stand for it, and they're like, no, you got to pick that up tomorrow. And then what happens? I get a link saying, oh, you can come pick this up today. The only thing I couldn't get was, of course, the console. Shout out to Destin Legary, Danny Pena, and Paris Lilly. I watched their videos about it. Pretty good stuff. Oh, look at you. Oh my goodness. Well, he got his hands on it, ladies and gentlemen. Good for you, man. That is awesome. Have you had a chance to do anything with it yet, Hargeet?
No, that's just the case.
You got the case. Okay, so all right. So yeah, so you're like me, you're gonna pick it up tomorrow. When I watched, you know what? Before we get into any of it, we're just talking shop, folks. Hargeet, how you feeling, brother? The night before the hardware release, people should be excited. There are some
the dead Xbox.
Yeah, the dead Xbox. That is correct, sir. For the third weekend in a row, by the way.
Yes, of course, dead Xbox. Yeah, it's another day. Xbox is dead, and we're releasing console tomorrow, and and I'm getting mine shipped, but the thing came in that it's gonna arrive tomorrow. It's like, okay,
nice,
cool.
Very nice.
So they're shipping it to arrive tomorrow. That'll be awesome. So
looking
forward to getting it, and we'll see what it's like. I hear there's still a lot of Windowsiness to it. So
yes, I again, depending on who you speak to. Let's see. I didn't watch. What's the kid's name that Kesante would know this? With the glasses. It's not Linus. Yes, I watched his video. Mm-hmm. And you know what? His video was kind of lukewarm about it. Of course, he's a PC guy. So, of course, he's, said if you're a console guy, this isn't the perfect console experience. But if you are a PC guy and you're looking to upgrade, it's not a bad buy. A lot of people are turned off by the $1,000, price point. It's expensive, folks. It's a lot of money. But when you compare it to some others that even Kesante have talked about, it's a bit cheaper. But Kay, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Camless today. I'm not feeling too well. It's been a long trying day.
I know.
I'm good. I'm here.
You've been going through it.
Oh yeah, but I'm here. I'm good. And I'm excited for all the people about to get their hands on the new allies, man. It's good times. I'm excited for all the potential new handheld talk that's about to befall. So
now, so it sounds like you're not getting it. Is there a particular reason why you pump the brakes?
Honestly, to be absolutely honest, I had I had a gap in my collection, and had it hit a certain price point, it would have facilitated me getting the smaller one, just to fill that gap. But over 550, it broke out of that because I have a what do you call it? An ROG. No, I'm sorry. A Legion Go 1, right, which is exactly the same kind of power spec level, even a bit more than the small one, right? And that currently on sale you can find for exactly the same price they're charging this one, even cheaper. So I'm kind of like, it kind of lost it for me there. Okay. Doesn't mean that the device is any less great. Doesn't mean that the people who get it won't really love it. I really had it really made an impression on me when I did get a hands on it. I'm sure eventually I'll get my hands on it at some point, but because I am so flush with handhelds these days,
you are Mr. Handheld. First of all, folks, he has more handhelds than he has toes, and he has 10 last time I counted. So
that's not true. I have about 8 different handhelds, so I have more toes.
Only 2 short. Listen, this is Mr. Tech, but you know what? Shout out to the chat. We got over 162 people here. I first want to say a big thank you to everyone that tuned in for today's impromptu Fallout 76 live stream that I did. Obviously we were talking about Burning Springs, and of course, that's because I got a chance to go and get hands on for about 2.5 hours of the new expansion dropping right around the time the show's dropping. in December. So if you missed it, again, I don't expect a lot of views on it. It's a topic that a lot of people don't play MMOs, and I don't even play MMOs, to be quite honest with you. And I was actually, I told you in the live stream, I was hesitant to accept the invite because it really wasn't for me. But they really have made single player an actual thing, and that you can do that obviously through exploring. And again, there's a paid way to play in your own private world, which if you want to try it out in December, by all means, there are two forms that you can try. There's a monthly and there's a yearly. I wouldn't do either because I just don't have the time and I'm not really an MMO guy. But it does, when you are speaking to the NPCs and you are moving around the world and exploring, and you come across these characters, when you interact with them, especially when you start doing like side missions for them, it feels like a regular Fallout game. It's just an MMO. So take if you missed it, go check that out. But gentlemen, before we get into our thoughts on the second half of the show regarding, is this the start of the future? Is this a glimpse of the future into what Xbox is going to do? I kind of want to just bring up a story here. Now, this again, it's coming from Xbox.com. Shout out to King Webb, who shared this with me in the DMs. So one of the things, gentlemen, I'm going to go first to Hargeet on this. When you say you're buying this Xbox Ally or the Xbox Ally X, and you want to play your game library, there is a lot of pushback from games media, some of which are legit. A lot of the noise, like you laughingly admitted, oh, Xbox is dead again because over the weekend, folks, everything was coming off the shelves, and now nothing's moving. But it's funny. I don't remember who was it. I think it might have been Umbra. No, actually, it might even Jamie Moran says it was Jamie Moran. What Jamie said was so spot on to the ridiculousness. So if there are consoles on the shelf, no one's buying Xbox. Hashtag Xbox dead. If there are no consoles on the shelf, Xbox dead. They moved all of their stuff. So there really isn't a winning solution here for Xbox. So I say just, drown out all the noise and just enjoy gaming on whatever console. But if you're an Xbox gamer, just enjoy it. But what I want to talk about is the game situation. So what they're doing and what I have in front of me is a list of every game that will be playable on the ROG Xbox Ally X and S. I'm just going to call it the S, folks. And the amount of games comes to 1,369. Some of the big ones in here, and again, it's a lot of games, folks, so I can't go through the whole list, but Silksong is one of those play anywhere games. Little Nightmares 3 that just came out, play anywhere. Oblivion, play anywhere. If somebody wants to play, I don't know, Barbie Horse Adventure, it's there, folks. The Call of Duties are going to be there, which of course, obviously, because you can't play the Call of Duty or any multiplayer game on the Steam Deck because of the anti-cheat stuff. But Mortal Kombat 1 is here. There is a significant amount of games here. What I'm getting at is, Hargeet, if somebody is on the fence, right? You got to remember, folks, this is an investment. And we are in a time in the world where the spendable monies that a lot of people had extra of, 4, 5, even 10 years ago, that's long gone. So people are living paycheck to paycheck, and maybe this device is going to be pricing out some people, and I hate to hear that. I mean, trust me, if I was loaded like that, I'd buy everyone. Everybody in the chat, you're getting one. Yay, Mrs. Boom and I doing it again. I wish that was true. Unfortunately, it's not. But the one pushback that continues to be a thorn in the side of these devices, because there are two of them. There's a $600 one and there's a $1,000 one. One's obviously better than the other, but the $600 model, as you heard Kay Asante say, not a bad device, but for him, it's $50 too much, maybe even $100 too much, considering that he has 8 handhelds, right? Okay, no problem. But the pushback is, well, you can't play all of your games. You can't play every single one of your games. Well, we know, and we know from private conversations that the three of us had with the great Jason Ronald, that they're going to get to a place where eventually everything is playable. That is the ultimate goal. This is where it's starting, folks. And as of this evening, the list that I have in front of me contains 1,369 games that are playable on these devices when you go to pick them up tomorrow. Is that going to be every one of your favorite games? Well, probably not. Would it be great if everything was playable, Hargeet, day one? Of course it would. But they are going to build on what a lot of people said in their videos, especially Paris. This is a great starting point. They just have to tweak. They have to fix things. They have to add things. And they're going to do that. Now, I'm not making excuses. If you don't want to buy it, folks, by all means, don't spend the money. I'm buying it because I've always wanted, again, it's not perfect. We've heard many people say that, but it's an experience that I think is better than the just as simple armory crate that was with the original ROG Ally. And I have the ROG Ally, and thanks to Keasante, I've been able to fool around with this UI, and I like it. It's easily understandable. You can switch through things, not a problem. And for me, not having to see the desktop, excellent. I don't want to see it. I just want to play the games. Hargeet, the question is, when you consider this amount of games, again, it's almost 1,400 games. And if you are a Steam user, almost every Steam game is going to run on this thing. And you will be able to install Steam, Good Old Games, Epic Game Store. And by pressing the official, because it has not only the Xbox button, it has an Armory Crate button that brings up a small menu that allows you to go into these other stores. They're like little apps. Paris Lily made mention of that. And I think that's convenient because, again, you can just pick what you want and you go. What would be your opinion on the fact that, okay, yes, about 1,400 games are available, Hargeet, but not all of them. Would that deter you from buying this thing? And should it deter anyone in the Xbox community? Oh, you're muted.
I'm muted. That depends on you as the gamer. Look, so I every console generation kind of is a reset. The last one, we did not have that, where we were able to bring our games forward. That's not always the case. PS4 did not play anything before it. Xbox One, tried to do that, right? It brought the previous library, but that was after it launched, or when we had that big, huge announcement of backwards compatibility, right? So that is not always the case. The beauty of PC is whatever is available on PC is always available. So if you look at it from that perspective, this is really good. But that has to be that, like, you've already built up a library. And so for me, that's good because I've been doing that for a while and I get all the freebies and I can play all the freebies that I keep getting. And I have a lot of games on Steam. They have Play Anywhere for a lot of titles. And of course, there's Game Pass, which gives me games on both platforms. So, you also get EA Play Pro or Ubisoft Plus. Ubisoft Plus, of course, is available on Xbox. But EA Play Pro is not, and now you have access to that. So you can get all the games you want from them, if there are any that you care about, day and date with all the Ultimate Everything Edition, right? So that's another perk, right? So outside of Split Fiction, which was a very odd decision, but anyway, whatever. But you have all that available to you. So if you want to play something, you can. Now they added this stupid cloud crump, so you can play the cloud thing if you want to. So you have access to that library.
Yes.
On top of that, and I just thought of this as a use case, is my nephew will come into my room to watch his TV stuff, right? He wants to watch his cartoony stuff. That's great. That takes away my TV, so I can't play. But my Xbox is still sitting there. So I can just I can either play natively if it's available on my ROG, or I can just stream my Xbox to my ROG because it's sitting like 10 feet away, right? So I could just do that, and that allows me to play the games that I've already been playing on my Xbox. So there are ways to do things if you want to. Certainly, there's options. If you really need to have that backwards library that you had, fine, fair enough. That's somewhat of a problem if you expect that to be one-to-one with what you have on your Xbox. It's not going to be there at launch, at least, right? I don't know if that changes over time. I'm certain once they get up to a new console, it'll have it. But I don't know about this device if it'll have it or not. So we will see what happens there. But you have to understand, you have a PC. So PC literally has the most games. So you can pretty much get whatever you want and play it if you want to get it. Backwards, compatibility, I suppose, of your backwards library that you've had for a while. I got to remind people just how cheap Steam can get. It's just
they just had the autumn sale that Kay was telling me about, and they were literally giving games away for pennies.
So it's not as big. Look, if you happen to like go back to all your games, which I don't know how that happens, then it could be a problem. But like honestly, there's so much available to you already if you just have Game Pass. You know, if you have the Ultimate Edition, you're talking 400 games. If you're talking PC Game Pass, you're still looking at 400 games. So, like, it's an insanity of how many games you have just right there. We keep getting dumped on with more and more games. I don't know why that would be that big of a deal. But if it is a big deal, the handful of games you really, really play, just buy them. Like, it's okay. You can just buy them again if they're not in Play Anywhere. Now, having said that, yes, this is all a you have to have money type thing, and I get all that. And there certainly are people who may not be able to afford that, but then you're buying $1,000 console. I'm not really gonna cry for you if you're buying $1,000 console. You obviously could buy a few games if you really, really wanted to. It's just, it is what it is. It's also a good way to get into sort of the PC catalog and start building that up, because that's just always there. Like, there's no generation when it comes to PC. You have it. So, you can buy more hardware whenever you want. Buy the 7090 when it comes out on a brand new desktop PC. You can still play your game that you bought 20 years ago. They don't care. It's just there. You have it. Go play it. I have a whole set of freaking CDs and floppy disks for freaking PC games. If I can find a drive that would actually read all that crap, I can still play it. It works. It doesn't matter, right? It's all there. It works. You can absolutely play your games continuously on PC. That's kind of the beauty of it. You might have to flip over to desktop mode because it'll have to do some compatibility fun to play some older games, but new games should work just fine out of the box, right? So I don't see that as that big of a barrier. There's plenty of games to play. So pick the ones that you can play. Just, go with that. If you already have a console, that can be your primary. You can always connect to your console if you're close enough. You can connect over the internet, by the way. You can connect to your console over the internet. I don't totally think that's a great idea if you're very far away, because it'll suck. The cloud stuff is still there if you absolutely want to do that as well. But again, for the handful of games that might be an issue, you can consider just buying the game if you want on Steam or whatever. But they are working on the Play Anywhere capability. The biggest headache is to make sure you can do cross progression, right? If you're going to play on both platforms, you got to keep that in mind. That is the biggest headache you run into. And the Play Anywhere generally tends to solve that. You have the same, save on both, which is very, very convenient. But you'll just have to play through that. There are games that aren't Play Anywhere. I think, did Hogwarts become Play Anywhere now?
Yes,
I was playing it when it wasn't.
Yes.
It was not Play Anywhere, and I was able to do cross progression no matter what. So I was playing on Steam. I could go to my Xbox and just play the Xbox version. It would pick up my save, no issues. So that was really cool. Though it was not. I don't believe it was Play Anywhere. So, but now it's in Game Pass, so it has become Play Anywhere, which is awesome. But those are the kind of things that happen. You just got to make sure you can cross progress, assuming you want to hop back and forth. That's really the bigger headache, I think. But yeah, I mean, this is, as I've been saying, it's a journey. It's not going to be perfect on day one. You're going to have to stick it out if you're going to be an early adopter of this. But it will be better and better over time. And we'll see where they end up with it. Hopefully they execute well, and we get something that's going to be really good. I hear that it's still got full Windows, which is a little annoying in that they should have taken things out that are absolutely unnecessary.
I agree.
But whatever. This is, again, it's a journey. I don't know if like day one they have a patch that does that and strips it all. I don't know, right? But it is something that we can send as feedback that, hey, you don't need to have the annoying Teams login when you go to desktop mode. This is a gaming machine. I don't expect to run Teams. If I want it, I'll go download it, right? So stupid things like that, you just like, come on, like it's not necessary. They should have known to do that. But it's just running normal Windows with some enhancements, right? So I'm hoping they kind of streamline that over time. As I said, though, it's a journey. But as far as the games, look, it's hard to say a PC doesn't have enough games because it literally has like 10 times the amount of games that console does. So I'm not even exaggerating. It literally has 10 times as many games as consoles do. So you have everything, and then you can emulate the rest. I'm just saying. So you pretty much have everything available to you. So enjoy it if you're gonna get one. Don't think of it as like a limitation. You can certainly get the games you want. I'm sure you'll be able to find what you want to play. So enjoy it. I hope people who do pick it up like it and have fun with it. We'll see how it works as far as performance. I'm hearing good things, but we'll see, right? So but yeah, the games, it is a problem right now, but it's not a huge problem to me anyways. So that's my thoughts.
No, I mean, and it's fair. So if you're in the chat, before we bring Asante in on the conversation, I kind of want to put myself up front because one of the things that you all know is I don't mind buying games. I buy a lot of games. I'm an OG, so I like side-scrolling beat 'em ups. I like Metroidvanias. I like games that are considered old school, but people are still making those new games. And a lot of those games, thanks to Asante, who has shown me the way of the force, so to speak, is that they get released on PC, usually on Steam. And because these are teams of potentially 1, 2, 5 people, 10 people, they'll never see the light of day on any console, right? But they'll be on Steam. So for me personally, I have a Steam account. I have a couple of games in my library, but I'm not quote unquote a Steam customer. What this device allows me to do is then when Asante says, boom, you're not going to believe this. I just played this freaking side-scrolling beat 'em up and it's amazing. Well, I'll be able to say, oh, where's the game available? Well, it's not on Xbox, not on PlayStation, it's not on Switch, but it's on Steam, and it's $10. And then I go buy this $10 game, and while I'm sitting on the couch here with Mrs. Boom, we're watching our shows. I just want to, play this game. I can do that, and that's what's exciting for me because I've used myself as a test case because I'm not really a PC guy. Steam is going to get my money because they're going to be games that are only going to be available. And this machine is going to give me the handheld experience. Now, I have an Ally, and I owned at one time the first Steam Deck. I didn't like the Steam Deck. And the Ally is good, but it felt too PC for me. I'm hoping that this does feel more like a console-like experience. So I want to give a shout-out to Gentle Stone in the chat. He brings up a really great point. And I kind of want to not push back because I like what he had to say, but walk with me on this, Gentle Stone. He says, if you have a large console library and don't play I guess I meant to say play on Game Pass on new game purchases, this isn't worth it for, quote, the console gamer. And here is now this is a broad stroke statement. A lot of people that I know that play on Game Pass use the service because it's affordable. It falls into their budget and they don't always need the latest and greatest. So if they get a bunch of games in a 12-month period that they've played and enjoyed, and that's, now we're seeing the Ubisoft stuff get in there, the EA Play stuff gets in there after it's been out for 6 months. Xbox Game Pass, or the Xbox Game Studios games in Game Pass day and date. So there's going to be somebody in this chat right now that uses this service. And again, we're not going to get into the price increase. I don't like it, and I never will. But before November 1st, folks, go to search it out. You can get these 3 months cards for under $20, per month. Like I said, I think right now even Amazon has the three-month card for $56. Is the greatest of savings? No, I remember paying $33 for 3 months, which is great, but it's better than $89.99, right? So I mean, do the math, so to speak. But I actually think that if somebody, and again, I always use myself. I never try to put anybody on blast, or I never like to embarrass anybody. I always use myself as a test case. So as a retired guy, right? My pension, great. Has a ceiling, yes. Game Pass, and I've been saying this for years, allows me to buy other games. And a lot of those games that I buy are on Xbox that are not a part of the service. And some of those games are on Steam. And what this does for me now is this device will allow me to potentially buy a game that's available on Steam, right? That's not on Xbox, and I'll be able to play it on this device. So if that's you, ladies and gentlemen, this device is definitely for you. So shout out to Gentle Stone for the comment, brother. Welcome to the show. I've never seen the name before, so we're happy to have you here, man. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. But Asante, I want to bring you in because when you say 1,369 games are available, those are Xbox games, folks. Those are Xbox games that are available day one, tomorrow. And are there going to be games in there that people are not going to be able to play because they're not a part of Play Anywhere yet? Sure. And that stinks, right? We want you to play your games. If you own it, you should be able to play it. And they're going to get there. But and again, this is not making excuses, but I watching Destin and his review of it, he made mention of, when the Steam Deck first came out, it wasn't perfect, right? It took like 6 months of updates to get it to where it is now, and they've been consistently refining it all these years later. But, before we throw the baby out with the bathwater out the window, I'd like to let the thing come out, let it get its updates, and let them continue to prove us wrong by doing the updates. Now, I don't know how many games are available across 4 generations of games. I couldn't even imagine what it is, 10,000, 20,000 games. I have no idea. So someone may say, well, boom, 1,300 is really not a lot of games. You know what? I'm not going to fight you. It should be 13,000 games available at day one, but it's not. So if you want, I saw somebody in the chat, and again, I don't remember who the name was, that they're gonna let this console come out, and they're gonna let people tweak it and update it, and next year they're gonna buy it. And that's a great plan. If that's what you want to do, folks, you should do that, because you got to remember these handhelds are expensive. But I want to get your thoughts on the games conversation that is going on, because some people are okay with the number, and a lot of people like myself do use Game Pass to its great advantages and play their games through there, and you will be able to play those games on this device. But what if somebody is like, well, 1,300 isn't enough? Let's get your thoughts on that.
So let's be absolutely clear on what exactly we're talking about here, right? When you say it, you're clear. It's just 1,300 games that were in your Xbox library potentially, and are now through back compat or other ways are now playable on your device. That's what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah, that's correct, sir.
Because like to do that comparison, which you did a few minutes ago, Steam Deck, when the Steam Deck first came out, it had 17,000 rather games playable day one. Okay. Now, over time, that's grown, right? That's grown to be a lot more, right? But the difference there is, when they mean playable versus not playable, they really mean playable versus not playable, okay? In this instance, when they talk about the 1,300 or whatever games that are playable versus not playable, I bet you there'll be a couple games that you'll see not on their list, but you can still go to Steam and go buy it real quick. Because when it comes to playable, they all are. This is a Windows x86 device. Don't get it twisted. Chances are, if it was made anytime in your lifetime, it will run on this device, right? As Hargeet was saying, depends on how old the game is. You might have to do some tweaking and twerking. You might have to spend some time in desktop mode, and and your mileage may vary. And I'm sure that, as with all things, a community will grow around it that says, hey, if you want to run this, do this, that, and the third on your desktop mode, and then get back to your game, right? So that will all be there. But yeah, like, I don't think that number is bad. I think it's a healthy number. I think I posted this. This might have dovetailed nicely into what we're talking about here. I posted a tweet yesterday night. I happened to be installing a game via Game Pass on my Legion Go, which has the full screen experience. And when you're installing it now, I think I was installing Blueprints. It now shows you a similar UI to what the Steam Deck shows you, and shows you, hey, this game is considered playable because it does this well, does this well, does this well. You might need to tweak the text for it to fill the screen for you. It has those elements, those UI elements that people have come to expect from Steam Deck, telling you that the game is playable versus not playable. But if you're watching this show, then you're not a man. This Beavis and Butthead just like running through the footage. That's just wild, bro. That's just what I can't get over that. Anyway, if you're watching this show, look at that. That's just so weird. Yeah.
It's Coach too. It's crazy.
Yeah. If you're watching this show, then chances are you are more than just the person who just like is casual. You want to pay attention. You want to get some information. So understand that when they say 1,300 or whatever, they solely mean 1,300 games that were in the Xbox library that were playable as an Xbox console gamer, that may not 100% translate to you now as a companion device, right? Doesn't mean that the game is unplayable, because chances are that game may be very, very playable on via GOG or via Steam or some other launcher, right? Which is a difference between that and the Steam Deck. Because when the Steam Deck said it's playable, they mean either it's going to play or it's not going to play at all, right? This thing plays everything. Let's not get it twisted. Every Windows thing that is playable on Windows, provided you have the hardware to run it, which this is pretty medium spec hardware. It should be able to do it, right? It will run it. So this is just them covering their backside when it comes to their library and the extent of how that library extends to you now as a PC gamer, right? Which, of course, that I expect also will grow, because as Hargeet was saying before, I too was able to play Hogwarts Legacy, but it wasn't on back compat, and now it what do you call it? Play Anywhere rather, and now it definitely isn't Play Anywhere. You can see it in there since it's come to Game Pass. So they definitely are growing it. When I first spoke with Jason Beaumont at Gamescom, he did say that the first day this thing comes out won't be the end, but the starting line. And right. They're expecting to grow a lot and learn a lot, right? I think there was a recent thing that came up from Sarah Bond being interviewed, where she also said that there's a lot of lessons to be learned from this device. That they're taking a lot of telemetry from learning lessons from how gamers want, and they're going to be tweaking this experience as they go along. So honestly, I think this is great. I think this is pretty cool. I'm super excited for those of you who get it. I hope your onboarding experiences are great. I've been hearing kind of mixed reviews on some people got older builds of the devices, so it took a lot longer to update. Right? I hope that the new ones that come out have a fresher builds, so it doesn't take so long to update. So yeah, it's great that we have awesome tech to talk about. Pricing is a little well, say it is what it is. I'm sure you'll get some open box deals if you really, really care and you don't have the money for it right now. So, hold off for a little while and pay attention. But yeah, I'm excited for it. And I think the price, to answer the question directly, that 1,300 and 13,000 and change number is a healthy number. It's a healthy number, just talking about their own library. If you really, really care, you can still go to like GOG and find Prototype and load that thing up and play it, so it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, folks, there is a lot of excitement. I saw some Mark Man 05 in the chat. Welcome, brother. Nice to see you here as always. He said that a lot of the reviews are polarizing. Look, I mean, I think that if it's a $600 or $1,000 investment, if by some chance you do have the money and you are all in, right? you're going to buy it no matter what. Now, if your favorite content creator is telling you that it's good or it's bad, that's entirely up to you. I've watched, I want to say 5 or 6 reviews today from various creators that I trust. And they haven't been I mean, are they polarizing? Oh, I don't know so much about polarizing. I think, like, for instance, when you hear it's funny you make mention about the updates, specifically Paris had made mention that the updates took about 2 hours, right? And he's had it for I think he said he had it for 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I know that King David has it. I know a few others that have it. And you mentioned older builds. I don't know
Yeah.
how older the builds are, but someone like Paris has had it for 2 weeks, and we know that there's gonna be day one impact for sure. There's no doubt about it. I would just say, folks, that this is, I think both Hargeet and Kayasante said this. This isn't the end point. This isn't the end of the race. This is the start. Now, the start is hopefully not going to be rocky. You are going to be able to play all of your games. I think Paris said also that he played at the Outer Worlds because he's reviewing it as well. And look, if you're a Game Pass subscriber and you didn't walk away because of the increase, and if you did, folks, I hear you. Sometimes you vote with your wallet. That's what I always say. Kay and it says that all the time. I think that this device is going to serve you well. If you play a lot of games on Game Pass, this is going to be a great device for you. Whether you have
boom. Let me just interject real quick because people ask for tech talk from me. So let me give you tech talk.
Go right ahead. Right. Take the floor, brother.
This is the only device that is a Z2 Extreme device that is that price point. Any other Z2 device that you're looking for in this market, and trust me, I know, I keep my ears to the streets on these things. You're paying at least $1,200, at least, if not more, right? This is the cheapest, the lowest barrier of entry to that generation you can possibly get. Could it have been better? Absolutely, it could have been better. But there's no doubt that if you have the Z1, or if you have any other device that you would consider last gen, this is a great upgrade that moves to the next gen. I don't watch a lot of different techies, right? Like there are very few voices that I trust and I follow very closely. I follow the Fox. He is my techie.
The Fox.
And anytime the Fox, and that's a PH, not an F.
Yes.
PHA. So every if seek out his YouTube channel. He got his hands on it. I got the privilege of meeting him many times, and that Microsoft is confident when every time I go to one of these events and I'm excited to see these handhelds. What do I see? I call him one of the handheld lords. He is one of the right, and they fly him in. He comes, he reviews. His reviews out there. It's an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. His review. He goes in from the beginning all the way into the deep end of the pool about as many speeds and feeds as you'd want, all to basically crystallize his thoughts and tell you that it's a pretty great device, even though there's some odds and ends here that he saw issue with. So the long story short of it is there's just no other device in its class today at this price point. Full stop.
I mean, that's great points of view. Great additional, information to the conversation. Because again, the Z2. I know somebody also said that it has AI. Yes, it does have AI for sure. But I mean, listen, iGen, and again, you use this loosely, folks, because it is. I'm very critical of IGN. Whoever reviewed this gave it a 9. That's high marks.
You know who reviewed this? This is the same guy that reviews all their tech stuff. We met him, Seth Macy.
Oh, we did meet Seth. Yes, he's a gentleman.
Yes,
gentleman
he's a nice
man.
dude. He's a nice dude. Yeah,
gentleman of a
and
man.
He's good at the tech reviews too. He's good at the handheld and device reviews. I've seen a couple of his stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, listen. I didn't read the review. I saw everyone posting it as a 9. You know, listen.
I think it was
I'm not gonna post it because I give them smoke on a regular basis for their ridiculousness. But I'm glad to know because I met Seth with Kay. As a matter of fact, I think we were getting coffee. Gentleman of a man, really very nice, very welcoming,
decent human being. Yeah, very nice guy.
yes, very nice man. But look, folks, I'm excited. I'm an all-in type of gamer. So as you know, I got the big boy.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I have to be corrected.
Uh-huh.
Jacqueline Thomas was the one who reviewed this.
Oh,
Jacqueline
okay. Well,
Thomas. She reviewed this and she
okay.
gave it a 10 out of 10. So
Excellent.
forgive me. Continue.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Listen, again, thank you for the correction. But like for me, it's gonna be a $1,500 day. And look, I've said this before. I'm not taking $1,500 out of the house fund. I'm just not gonna do that. For me personally, I opened up a Best Buy card for this purpose only. I bought a couple of amiibos or pre-ordered some amiibos, and Jesus, those things are expensive. But for Tyler and me, we got to have them. So those are also pre-ordered. But for the most part, I had a zero balance, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the big one. And you know something? I got to give a public shout out to Mrs. Boom. I was going to cancel this thing because when you're saving for your first home, you got to get short arms and deep pockets, folks. That's what I'm trying to do by also still enjoying games, which is thank goodness for Game Pass. And I literally got in and pre-ordered it on my birthday, the birthday luck, right? September 25th. And like a week later, I'm sitting on the couch with Miss Moon watching our K-dramas as we do. And I'm like, yeah, no, honey, I think I'm gonna cancel it. She says, listen, you got in, you got the pre-order. If you cancel this, you are gonna hate yourself. And I listen, I say this all the time. Not only is she the smartest one in the room when she walks in, she's the voice of my reason. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay it off in a couple of months because I don't do the $100 a month thing. I try 3 payments and I want this thing paid for. So that's what I'll probably do. But now I saw some people in the chat. Hesitation is defeating Boom. That I know it almost defeated me for sure. So shout out to Mrs. Boom for being the voice of reason. I got the console. I got the docking station that you hook up to the TV. Of course, it's the official ROG. I got the controller, which I think the controller has been out. I don't think it's launching with it, but the controller is really nice. I'm going to do an unboxing tomorrow for it. It's dope. It's like an elite controller, but it's really nice. And I also got the case. So everything official. I'm going to go pick it up tomorrow, and I'm very excited for it. And you know what? I'm very excited for a lot of people in the chat because a lot of us, we've been talking about this for years. We've always wanted the X-Boy, right? Like the portable Xbox. And this is just a start, right? I mean, I know that some of the community has been so negative towards it, especially about the games thing that we opened up with. Don't let any of that noise, trigger you or get you bent out of shape. Folks, if you're going to buy this thing, just enjoy it. It is the first OEM device. It is not the official Xbox one that's supposedly going to release in 2027. But I got to tell you, in my heart of hearts, and I'm not the techest of tech guys, you heard what Kay said about Sarah Bond and a few of the other, people that make this thing. They're learning. There's been some pitfalls that they're going to react to it. They're going to fix it. They're going to continue to update it. And when they finally come to their console in a couple of years, where it's the Microsoft device, you're probably going to get the X-Boy that you've always wanted. But I think that this is a great starting point. And again, folks, just be cautious with your money. If you can't afford it, just wait. And a lot of these places do get open boxes, even like a month after. So again, just if you're gonna buy it, enjoy it. If you want to wait and you want to let all the bugs and the kinks get kinked out, then just do that as well. But I'm very, very excited. Rank said he missed the initial pre-order. Now I have to wait until December. It's funny you say that, and I kind of slipped it out of my mind. I've been seeing some reports that apparently Best Buy took an overabundance of pre-orders, and some people are having their stuff like, hey, listen, FYI, not until December. I got my we're preparing your order. So I was like, we're good. But yeah, just check your emails, folks. Go if you're buying it from Best Buy or you're buying it from the Microsoft store, just pop in there and see if it's it says it's preparing your order, or check your emails, because again, there might be some people that actually pre-ordered it and it got canceled, which would be terrible. But again, this is a great way to open up today's show. It's just we're here to have fun. We're here to get excited. But gentlemen, what I want to do, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to go back to Hargeet. Hargeet, you're listen. You have an incredible PC, right? You're rocking a 5090. You probably have a very expensive
4090.
A 4090. So listen, again, you play with the big boys. This new device. You heard Kay say it, where it's not the end, but the starting point, right? How do you think this is going to shape the future of Microsoft's handheld? That's really the question that I want to kind of pose to you, to Kay, to the chat, because obviously this is going to look and run similar, potentially, until and again, folks, we don't know officially because they haven't announced it, but the rumor, and you've heard this before, is that 26 is supposed to levy an OEM device underneath the TV. We don't know who's making it. I think it's Asus, but it could be anybody. But Microsoft's device, or devices, I should say, because one is underneath the TV, traditional. It's going to look like a console, act like a PC. Awesome, right? Hybrid. The supposed docked handheld, a la the Switch 3, if you will. How do you think that this is going to be the groundwork for what they do in 2027, Hargeet?
It is. So I'm not sure if they're going to, continue with this as the future OS, or if they're going to really keep the console OS and add more Windows features. My guess is that's what they're going to do.
Okay.
So if that's what they're going to do, this will help them in tailoring the library. But if they continue with this as the pattern, where it's essentially Windows and there's a console UI, then this will be the journey that helps them define that, right? To make it seamless, make it much more user friendly as far as all the Windowsy things that hopefully they can iron out over time, right? So that's the big key here. The good thing with having a device that's Windows based is you get full compatibility, right? You have access to everything. The downside is, again, it's Windows, so sometimes it's a pain in the neck, right? Just simple things like I have to type a password, right? And okay, there's the OS password, fine, but let's say you have to install Ubisoft Connect. You have to type in the stupid password, and it's all an on-screen stupid keyboard. It just becomes annoying, right? These little things that you have to deal with, right? Where if it's more seamless, and maybe they work with Ubisoft, EA does a much better job where it says you can just use the already logged in Xbox account, click, and it's logged in, right? You don't have to worry about it. Whereas with Ubisoft, you have to type a username and password, which is like annoying. It's like, why haven't they figured out I can just use my Xbox login, right? I've already connected these accounts, so let me use my Xbox login, and it just logs in. Like things like that, they need to iron out, right? Make it so that it's very seamless when you use stuff. We will see how that journey goes, right? So could it help? Yes. I don't know that they're going to have a Windows-based console. That might be an actual console OS, just like you have with your series consoles, with more Windows functionality, exposed. So I don't know that it's going to help in that specific area. What it will do is the games themselves. If you're playing a game off of Steam, how well will it work in that console mode? That is something they can actually continue to expand on, right? They're making that, it works well with, capability that they're putting together, right? Where they're testing games to say this is better, works well, et cetera, right? So it works at good performance, better performance, all that stuff, right? That they're going through. They could keep track of what games have odd, visual or odd UI element issues, right? Because they're expecting a certain type of display or a certain type of input, and it doesn't seem to work well with a controller-based UI. Now, that's not usually the case for most of the newer games. They almost always work with a controller. But for older games, it can be an issue, right? So they're going to track all that. So that's where you're going to get some, benefit, is them going through all that validation will keep in the catalog. Hey, this game, you might want to plug in a keyboard on your desk, your console to make it work right, right? Things like that. Whereas, if it's it just all works well, it'll just tell you that kind of thing, right? So we will see that I think is where they're going to get a lot of benefit, right? That journey that they're going through right now will help them as far as the catalog of games, and I don't know if there are going to be oddities between different stores for the same game, right? So maybe you get something from Epic and it works a little different than it works with the Steam version or the GOG version, et cetera, right? So they can catalog all those kind of things. So there you could definitely see that, assuming they don't go, they go with a standard console-based OS on the next console, right? So, and again, I don't know that. I'm trying to, predict what might happen, as I think they would still keep that console OS, though I'd prefer that they just do this. Just do the Windows-based OS, just refine it. Make it as good as possible where it has a console UI, but gives me Windows underneath, because the benefits are so good if you have that. For those who want to go into the Windows mode, you could load up all the mods that you guys don't see on the console. Yes, there are some mods on console, but my God, is it so much different when you have Windows? You can mod out anything you like. So once you have, it's just one of those things that once you cross that threshold, you're like, why not do this? It's just so much better. I can do all these things, right? There's emulation. I won't get into the particulars, but there's a lot of things you can do basically to play anything you want, right? So that once you cross that, you might say, well, why do I want to go back to not having that? So I think if they can pull it off, it would be great if they just continue with this pattern, but it cannot be what they're doing day one from what we're hearing. It has to be a really stripped down Windows to just gaming, right? So like productivity probably has to kind of go or be an add-on that you install if you want it. Right? So those are the things that they have to kind of iron out. But look, it's a journey. As I keep saying, it's a journey. We will get there. So it could help a lot. It could help a ton for the next console if they decide to use Windows as the core and add on the the current UI that they're trying to put together. If, however, they're pushing to say, no, we're going to have a Windows-based thing and also a console-based thing, then it's really about the catalog, right? To make sure the catalog works well with a controller UI and how well that interacts, right? And look, part of this is also Steam has a vested interest in doing this because they have the Steam Deck. So they want to also say, hey, you know what, games, like this, these work well, these don't. They have a vested interest in doing the same thing. So it's all great for everybody if it gets cataloged right and everybody can play whatever they want to and know what games might require a different way to play, like a keyboard and mouse or something like that, or tweak it, like Kesante was saying, tweaking and twerking to make it actually work right on the device, right? Because there might be oddities, right, that where they're expecting you have enough screen space to see that font on that little information thing that you're reading that's required for you to understand what you need to do with the puzzle or whatever it is, right? Because if you shrink the screen down, it may not be a big enough font for you to read. Right? Just stupid things like that you may not think about, but the scale issue happens, right? And so hopefully they can kind of make all that more seamless as they move forward. But yeah, I think it's going to be helpful as it moves forward in some ways. At least the game catalog, certainly the telemetry will help as to what people do with it, what types of games people want to play, what things that people are not having when they use the Xbox UI and decide to go to Windows. Why are they going to Windows? What can they, partner up on and fix, right? To say, hey, we can make that a part of the Xbox UI instead of you having to go to desktop mode, right? those are awesome things that they can learn from. That's like the telemetry stuff they need to see, right? Why did you go to desktop mode? Was it just you wanted to hack some settings, or was it you went in and said, no, I wanted to play, like I wanted to use this mod, and it just doesn't, it wasn't facilitated within the Xbox UI, so I went to Windows mode. Okay, fine. Let's see if we can make that happen, right? Let's see if we can bring that forward and make that a part of the Xbox UI. These are awesome things that they can be looking forward to, and like say, okay, how many people did that? Is it a value? Let's go do it, right? I hope they go down that path. It would be very cool. Partner with all these things that are out there that gamers use all the time, and just make it more and more seamless. And that would then eventually lead to the potential of just having the console run with the same thing. I would love that. To me, that would be the best thing, if they have a like 90% airtight console UI with the potential for the 10% time you need to move over to Windows just to get that feature that's not available yet. You go there and get that feature, and then, but that's only for the people who want it. For the 90% user, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be great. But you have the power of all of Windows. You can run all the different things you want to, and it's just there, made available through the UI. That would be fantastic. So it could help a lot, or it could just be a sort of a half measure where they get the game catalog part of it. So either way, I think it's going to help. No matter what, it's going to help. So looking forward to it. But as I said, this is a journey. It's going to be a very interesting journey over the next few years. And we will see how they execute on this. I hope they do a good job. I want them to execute well. And they need to do that from a Windows perspective and a console perspective, because they now have competition in the Windows perspective. Steam OS is coming around. There are Linux OSs that are pretty good for gaming. They have competition, and they need to stave that competition off. Mac is like Apple is trying to make the Mac into a more gaming friendly platform, right? They've had this big initiative with gaming. So they need to make sure that they are still relevant in this. They obviously are the leader, but if they don't make a lot of innovations, they could lose that, and they need to keep innovating. So that's a good thing for us, by the way. Ultimately, for the consumer, competition is awesome because we get more stuff. So I'm happy with that. So let's see what they do with it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this journey. That's why I bought it. I want to see what the journey is going to be like, and each step, and what they get, and how do we get better and better. So we'll see.
Before I bring Kay in, I want to do catch up on Super Chats, but I do want to add an additional point. See, for me, I think from here, starting tomorrow, when they have their first pair of OEM devices, their partnered OEM devices, what I hope this eventually turns into is a one UI to rule them all. I know that's what they want to do. And we know that because we spoke to a few people that suggested so. Meaning that the UI that you use to play an Xbox Play Anywhere game on your tablet is going to look like your handheld and your console and your PC. Not different, not shaped different, meaning what I'm hoping for ultimately, and maybe this is a hope and a dream. I don't know. I know this is what they want to do. And I think they need to do it. I think they need to have a one UI to rule them all. It looks the same. It acts the same on every device that you use it. Not that on the handheld, it's going to look different than on your console. And I'm glad that, and like you said, the journey, we're going to be on the journey with them, because this is something that's going to be happening. You're going to continue to get updates. This is the first pair of OEM devices before their own devices in 2 years. Holiday of 27, I would imagine you're going to get a console that looks like a console, acts like a PC. You're also going to get what could be the dockable handheld, which would be a great way, Switch-like device that's Xbox. And I just hope that when they eventually get to theirs, this has all been worked out. All of the bugs, all of the kinks, all of the tweaking and twerking have been done, and it just looks and acts the same across the board. But let me just catch up on Super Chats, Kay, and then we're going to get your hot take on if this is going to shape the future of the handheld, journey that Xbox is on. But Elemental PO drops not one, but two Super Chats. The first one of $2 says, King David said there was no official Asus dock. Yeah, there absolutely is, because I bought it and so did Everborn. I can send you the link if you want. I think it's $140. I think I spent on it. I mean, so I'll say I know that it comes with a stand that you can plug it in. The stand is, it's just a little piece of plastic, but I'll send you the link, Elemental PO. Pioneer drops a very generous $5 super chat. He says Microsoft Windows is the parent company of Xbox. Why not use it all for its resources? I'm all in on Game Pass Play Anywhere games next gen. Yeah, I think, I mean, again, we're seeing more and more of those third party and second party games. Like, for instance, Little Nightmares 3 just came out. That's Play Anywhere. There's going to be quite a few of those. They're getting more people on board, and I think that what they're using, and again, I'm not in the boardroom, folks. I'm just using my business head. How I would pitch it to a developer. Say, hey, listen, we want you to be a part of this program. It's Xbox Play Anywhere, meaning that someone is going to buy your game and be able to play it pretty much anywhere. Well, why would I do that? Well, if you are attached to social media like I am, that reads all the tweets and reads the DMs and responds and things of that nature, one of the things that I keep seeing that's a running narrative is I decide to buy a game because it's a Play Anywhere game. That's the deciding factor for a lot of people. And I think that they could use those stats. And I think you don't lose as a developer if anyone can play your game anywhere. I think that's a W. But we'll see if people continue to jump on. Elemental PO's additional, very generous $5 super chat says, with the addition of an external GPU, this should be more than enough power. Yeah, I know some people are going to do that. I'm not going to do that. That's way above my pay grade. But look at me. The broke boy drops not one, but two super chats. The first one of $2 says, I think the handheld OS UI is a test for the new console. That's a really good and thoughtful point. I think you're onto something there. His second super chat of $5, he says, the issue is many people see this device and see the name Xbox. They automatically consider it a console. That's not what it is or what it's meant to be. I mean, you're not wrong there, brother. I mean, I think you people see Xbox and they get just triggered because it's an Xbox. They want Xbox dead, and that's apparent 3 weekends in a row. But Web Dave is here. Hello to you, Web. Nice to see you in the chat. And thank you so much for the very generous $2 super chat. He says, Asante, emulators, Nintendo Switch, Dreamcast, TTS. Well, we don't mention Nintendo on this show because their ninjas are lethal.
Yeah. I would say if you are signing up to this thing and you're signing up for the first time, look up EmuDeck. Just go to Google, type in EmuDeck, EmuDeck. That will serve you right. It'll help you down that path of all of them, and the ninjas won't come after Boom. So
ninjas are deadly, man. They really are. So, Kay, let's get your thoughts on this. Hargeet had a ton of great points, but I want to hear what you have to say, because I really think that this is going to shape the future for Xbox's handheld. Now, I don't know what it's going to do in regards to the hybrid home device. I'm sure that this is going to have something, to do with it, but we're talking handhelds. Is this the device that is going to ultimately shape what Xbox is going to be doing with their own personal handheld, the Microsoft developed handheld in 2027?
They've specifically said that that's what they're doing, right? There's been an interview where Sarah Bond specifically has called out that they are looking to use these OEM devices to learn what will then become the next gen hardware, right? And not just the next gen hardware, but platform offerings, right? So it's not just hardware; it's everything, right? So it is like I like you, Boom, think this is the future, right? We are seeing the future of what will eventually be will be even on set-top boxes, but that doesn't mean that what you see today is what it will look like, say, a year from now, right? I think that what they mean by their learning lessons is they'll optimize even further. They will make it work exactly as it needs to for that form factor, and then move on to another form factor, and then move on to another form. and that's just how it will be for all of the systems. So I genuinely think that the days of that bespoke piece of software that ran only Xbox code and it was very specific to that game console, I doubt that day persists much longer. I think the Xbox Series Gen is most likely the last we'll see of that, and they'll use back compat to eventually, bridge the gap and make sure that's playable across the board. And obviously, forward compat is taken care of by x86 PCs. So, I do agree with you that this is the future. It's just today there's some growing to be done, and they know that, right? They even said that. As far as the experience when you're starting to play your games and whatnot, I actually think they've done a pretty darn good job so far on this stuff, right? Because, like, for example, the idea that when you're going to try a game or buy a game, whether it be playable or not, when you come across a game that is not playable or is not supported or something like that, it'll tell you point blank. It won't even let you install it. I actually came across one. Right. And it's very, very descriptive in why it can't be played or why it's not good or why it can be, just like SteamOS has. So, like, they've learned their lessons. They know the mission. They know what people expect. They told me just literally that exact statement. They know what people expect. They know that when it's day one in people's hands, that people will expect more, but they'll be surprised at how far they've already come. So we shall see. I'm excited because for me, this like whatever they bring to Windows ends up helping everybody. Now, Hargeet, there is one part of this that I was a little bit disappointed about that you were just talking about as well. Like it's like the full normal Teams, freaking Office 365. It's the full fat honking take 12 hours to freaking, like, it's all of it. Like, and what frustrates me about that is this is not the first time a company. I'm so distracted by those weird ass characters running in the world. Anyway, every time.
Wait till you see me running around as the Predator. Oh my God! Yes, so good.
This is not the first time that Windows has been at the core of a piece of hardware, whether it be their first party or third party, right? Dreamcast is around, among many other devices, in enterprise and the like. They all have been modified for purpose, and I'm not talking about deep, hardcore modifications either. I'm talking about, is it too much to ask for a vanilla build of Windows that doesn't auto install solitaire and auto install? Like, this is what you're getting. And I'm just like, come on, guys, this is a little ridiculous. Even still, you're touting the 2 gigs of savior because of the bloat, but you added that savior can also be happening on the storage side as well, where you're not saving us any, you're just bloating up the hard drive. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, it is a lessons learned, and Lord knows when there's a feedback jar, I'm going to be yelling loudly on that. But yes, at some point I expected all of these things are going to get worked out. Until then, though, I contend it's a decent place that they've started. I really do. I think it's a decent place they started. I'm excited for the software. Hardware is good. Price could have been better. Hey, it is what it is. But no, I'm excited for where they are, and I think that the hardware will do pretty well.
I mean, listen, again, folks, we're all going to know tomorrow. And by the way, I'm at Best Buy. It is currently sold out. This is not a surprise. Both the ROG Ally sold out, but the docking station, it is called the ROG Bull Yark 7-in-1 charger for the ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X. I've had it paid for forever, so it's currently sold out. It was $139.99. It is the official ROG like docking station. So it does exist, but it's probably sold out everywhere. At least it's sold out here at Best Buy. But
yeah, and for those who want something, just understand this is Windows. It really, any USB dock will work.
Yes.
This is just specific to the device. I think it has like a stand built into it where you can just
it does.
kind of plop it down.
Yep.
Right. But if you don't need any of that, you just need to plug it in, and it gives you like HDMI and Ethernet and all that stuff. You
got
can
Amazon
just
get that.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
right? Any USB-C dock will work. And it has multiple ports, so you can have one for charging and one for the dock. So if you want to split it up, or if you can get a dock with enough wattage, it'll help as well. So, but yeah, if you want to wait for this one, wait for this one. If not, you can get something much cheaper.
Yeah.
Spend like $30 or something like that on Amazon. You can find something. So, but yeah, there is one though. There is an actual official one.
Yeah. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here this evening. I have had a migraine for about 6 hours. I'm dying on the vine here. So I want to thank everybody that took the time to come and hang out with us. I think we had over 400 people watching this evening. Awesome. Thank you so much. I saw a lot of new names here. So of course I got to do the pitch. And Randolph used to yell at me all the time, and I got to get Rand back on the show. I haven't talked to him in a minute. Where he used to say, "Boom, you got to ask for people to sub." I hate doing it, but again, it's just part of the business, folks. Listen, if you found the channel and you enjoyed the conversation and you don't mind subbing, sub the channel. We're on our hunt for 17K. We're nowhere near it. We're at 16.2 and change. We're almost at 16.3, and we're doing it the mom and pop way. We have fun. We don't console war. We're pointed, sure, when it needs to be, but we're never using hate narratives to drive the channel numbers. We just don't do that. And I stream Monday through Friday. But if you enjoyed the conversation, sub the channel, because I'm going to be doing a couple of videos, unboxing videos the next couple of days. I'm going to throw them up as shorts. I'm going to throw them up as just regular videos. I want to have an opportunity to actually, play with the device and, get to learn it a bit, before I start showing it off, because I don't want to look like an idiot. But I'm very excited for tomorrow. And folks, you know what? Hit me up in the DM, and we'll be talking for the remainder of the week about your experience with your new ROG Ally X or S. And obviously we have 2 more shows left. C Money and I will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna go in the morning to pick mine up. I don't know if I'm gonna actually be able to use it, because it's gonna be updates. So we may just be able to tell you, hey, I got the device, here it is, and we'll come back. But Friday mornings, Breakfast at Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got some talk, because Sarah Bond was interviewed by ABC News today. I have that video on tap where she brought the reporter into the Xbox lab, where she confirmed that they are working right now on the next generation Xbox. Mind F, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you so much for tuning in. A big thank you to all of the super chats, channel member chats, gifted subs, and channel memberships for Double Barrel Gaming that happened behind the scenes. Mrs. Boom and I are internally grateful for that. Listen, let's get everyone out of here. Harkeet, let's have the brand, brother. You wrote a book last year called Emergence. I love talking about it because I don't know many authors, and I know you, so that's awesome. If you like Mass Effect and you like science fiction novels, you should definitely give this a shot. But you know what? Besides being on, I think 6 or 7 podcasts, he has his own YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen, and you should be subscribed to it to help his numbers grow. So, Hargeet, sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe? And more importantly, potentially buy your book, man.
Yeah. And I'll try to put up some video on the ROG. I'll be getting it tomorrow. We'll see what happens, right? But anyway, my channel's Hargeet Chani 1 on YouTube, shop.chani.us if you want my book. I'll be on with Umbra tomorrow at what I think his podcast, The Fix, is at 8-ish p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Check that out. I'll be on with Money and Doodle on Friday, 8-ish p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have now shifted the Fonz Gaming GameStop Live. We have moved that to Tuesday to kind of go where RDX used to be. Shout out to Dealer. So 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Tuesday. But in between that, of course, is Web Dave at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Sunday. Check that out, and then we'll be back next Wednesday here to find out how Xbox is dead again.
You know what? Don't be surprised. It's been 3 weekends in a row. Look, folks, I'll say this before we.
You know what's coming, right? It didn't sell enough. It's coming. You know it's coming. You know.
Somebody actually said in the chat. This is a really good quote. They said that the next thing is going to be that the ROG flopped and it's just a paperweight Xbox dead. know who it was, but it's just, you know, I have do I have it in front of me? Yeah, I do. So, Kate, before I bring you in, Paris, he says there's been way too much stressing over the ROG Xbox Ally X is an Xbox or it's not. Ultimately, who cares? Regardless of what you think, it plays games and it does it pretty darn well. In my opinion, that's all that should matter. And it shows it with the title screen for the Outer Worlds.
Imagine
too.
all you care about is just playing the games that are out. Wow, what a concept.
You know what, dude? I don't even have an answer. I just wish people would just listen. I get it. When a company deserves to smoke, we as consumers should step up and give it to them. Honestly, it doesn't care who it doesn't matter whether it's your favorite team or your favorite brand. You got to give them the smoke. You cannot just sit back and be like, yeah, it's okay for them to F me. No, man, that's not right. You say something and stick with it. But look, Hargeet, great to have you here, brother. Great to have you back. Asante, this Saturday, we know that you're not getting it. You decided to kind of put it off for a bit, but we know who is getting it. That would be Everborn Saga, because we talked this morning and he is getting it as well. And of course, I literally said I pulled an Everborn, which of course is not an insult. It is a compliment, because when he goes all the way, and that's why I bought everything. But brother, sell the brand of the Gaming Circle podcast, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday mornings. And this particular Saturday morning is going to be extra special because we're going to hear hands-on from, of course, Everborn. And maybe I'll tell Mrs. Boom, you invited me. I'll sneak on and give my experience as well.
Absolutely.
Brand,
Yeah. Well, so first and foremost, thank you to all who always jump on and want to chat, and you know, people asking for opinions in the DMs and asking for advice. I hear you. We chat all the time. Salute to y'all. You know, great community. So yes, I didn't purchase mine, but Everborn will regale you with thoughts of his of his device, the Ally X. He bought that, so I expect this Saturday should be fun conversation chatting about that. Now, I think I'm like I think we are about less than 50 subscribers away from 3K. It's a small
I'm gonna put you on my back and get you to 3K
the tiniest
next 2 days.
of channels. We are now so close. I can taste it. It's been a hard fought battle this last 100 subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. You know, we do this every Saturday. Please, I have some plans of some
drop the link
developers
in the chat,
coming on.
Yeah.
I will drop a link in the chat. Please consider subscribing. Obviously, it is free to do so, and we appreciate all of the all the eyeballs and all the people who come and spend their Saturday mornings with us. You know, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, we have a great time there. Come check us out. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. And of course, once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you for taking the time to check out this show and all of the shows that we do here at Double Barrel Gaming. Of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.